Hey folks, this is Ben Yessel. My voice is a little cracky because it just is. It's just very early in the morning. So, but I'm trying to trying to speak clearly. Sorry. No, I guess cracky is not the right word. Just kind of, it's 5 in the morning voice. Sorry about that. Yeah, I got some stuff to talk about today. I'll make sure to keep a lot of stuff. Well, anyway. I want to talk about something that, if you guys have been watching my channel for a while, seeing my videos, and I put out a lot more of them quite a while back, there's a lot of reasons why I haven't put out a whole lot of stuff for a while, and I had a few, and it's been a little bit. No, I've just been really busy with stuff. And we'll see what happens with life. It's hard for me to... YouTube is just... Making YouTube videos is not a big part of my life. Especially as far as making higher quality stuff. It's just not... it's not... I don't know. It's too many other things going on. Too many other demands of my time. For those valiant souls that make really, we call it professional content, right? We used to hear how much they were making, somewhat. All that stuff was very deceptive, by the way. This was not what I wanted to talk about, by the way. It was all very deceptive, in a way, because, yes, some people made a lot of money. And then quite a number of people, I think, made a fair amount of money, too. Vast majority of people that make YouTube videos, hardly anything or nothing. Right. And so it's just, the whole subject is kind of vexing. Because it's a question of what people want to see. But if people become invested, if people are interested in someone else's life, or, I guess we'll say they're online friends, yeah, that happens. That's good. It's kind of, the way my YouTube channel is, by the way, at least this channel, is that it's kind of, it's always been more just me being myself. You say, well, Ben, that sounds a little bit like, at times you've vented a bit and you've been upset in videos. And I don't know how we feel about that. I don't know how people feel about that. And that's where I'm going to jump into that subject, right? The subject being, how do we deal with anger? And I'm going to tell you guys some things that I think should resonate very deeply with you guys. And should make a lot of sense if you think about it. But it's kind of also like a survival thing, emotional survival, so to speak. There's a lot of different sides to this. There's a lot of different sides. I wish it was a simpler thing. When you're a little boy and you're upset, you just know that you've been hurt. Your feelings have been hurt, or that you've been wronged somehow, or whatever it is. You feel like you were in the right and the other person was in the wrong, so you become upset. When you're an adult, it's innumerable. I can't think of all the different kinds of reasons for being angry. Because, just as a short list, we have anger regarding having a crappy job. And that just gets worse and worse over time. Either quit, or you get fired, or whatever. And then there's a desperation kind of anger. That's like, if someone's actually kind of hungry, right? That's like just like ravenous hunger, or it's desperation, or that's something kind of primordial, I guess. Yeah. And Um, but there's anger regarding people that betray you in some way, or that, I mean, I don't know, well, lovers quarrel crud, or all that immorality stuff that is, associated with anger, of course. And then there's just people that piss you off, adult bullies, and there's the IRS, and then the feeling of helplessness, right? When a problem, something you're facing is just too big, many of us go berserk. But this is just a short list. I can't. It's hard to think about all the different kinds of reasons why adults are angry. We don't have a parent we can go to. We have to. A lot of us have to deal with this stuff largely ourselves. Because for adults, when we get to a certain age, our parents are getting to the point where we kind of become their adults. But I'm not at that point. It depends on depends on the parent. Everybody, when they get to an old age, is a little different, but some people start to regress a little bit, right? So a lot of people are, yeah, they're very much the person that has to be the one to rely on, or sometimes that's financial, sometimes that's emotional or whatever. Or, I don't know. I mean, everybody's in a little different situation. There's a lot of things that are hard for me to understand regarding just what that means. And so I always welcome comments about this sort of thing. So there are times when a stress-related kind of anger for me, if something is stressful, hard to deal with on an ongoing basis, it's a different kind of anger, or anything associated with that. It's a different kind of anger than the kind of anger that's, I don't know, something a bit more, I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm trying to distinguish in different kinds of anger here. But some situations, it's a very situational thing. In some situations, I simply haven't had for a while. Others I have on an ongoing basis, or it's kind of a low level thing. But I would estimate, or I would guess, that most adults in the United States, at least, have to deal with low level stress or mid level stress that can make them snap. I think it's more something like that. We don't really deal with people that wrong us on a deep enough level for us to be angry, like extremely angry. I think it's stress. I think it's work-related stress. It has to be something like that, something financial, something that affects our bottom line. But something that affects our income. We can become very angry about some of these things. Some people. Anyway. So, but I don't deal with people that are like bullies. I don't really deal with bullies in the sense that I used to when I was a little boy. But I would suggest that people that have bosses over them probably have to deal with not only bullies a lot of times, but also the workplace related kind of anger, or the something involving your income. So that's a double whammy right there. When you're self-employed, like I am, it's different, somewhat. But then, anyway. So, all right. In my opinion, this is my opinion, we all need to have outlets for our emotions that we feel. If we do not have outlets for those things, it's bad. And this is something where I don't know, if a psychologist or a religious person or whatever talk about this for, I don't know. I welcome those comments. But the reason why these are my outlets for anger. Some would say, "Oh, Ben, there are other kinds of emotions. What are your outlets for those?" I'm like, I'm just addressing anger here. So that's the best way of putting this. So martial arts and physical exercise, those are great. I probably don't get enough of that stuff. Or whatever all that stuff is. Whenever you physically exert yourself, it's like you release a lot of tension. But the other thing is, called doom scrolling, watching YouTube videos over and over again, which is what we do instead of watching TV because TV sucks. Well, it's like TV is at the level where you feel like you're I don't know what's it's just very archaic. It's very archaic. Anyway, so yeah, we're going through YouTube videos one after the other, and it is calming because some videos address what we're upset about. Others just get our minds off of what we're upset about, calms us down. But there's still many other outlets for anger. Like I could write music that's angry sounding. Some people listen to heavy metal. Some people actually want to. Some people want to spar or fight people, not because they're angry with them, but because they need to release some kind of angry feelings. But it's not a personal thing. Isn't that funny how that works? But I mean, and then we get into all the legal stuff about that stuff. It's just saying. Some people want to go, hey, let's roughhouse for a bit. If they're similar size. But maybe I don't know. Maybe that's seen as being juvenile at some level, but it's I don't know. So let's get to the point here. What outlets for anger are not good? Well, some things, of course, are illegal, but some things are legal, but are. And again, I'm trying to keep this video anonymous on some level. I personally think that every single person on the face of the earth has. I don't restrict someone's behaviors, or I don't forbid them from behaviors myself personally. I can have expectations, but I can't force someone to not behave a certain way. But I can expect that people will behave a certain way, or avoid behaving in certain ways. I can have really reasonable expectations of that, but I can't coerce someone to always behave a certain way. But I think people should always feel like they can lose their temper if that's but the way I'm about to describe it is, it sounds like a choice. I don't think I have not. I don't know. I don't think losing your temper is a choice, even though ultimately it is. It is, right. But how many people have the ability to just shut off the anger switch in the heat of a really tense moment? All the buttons are being pushed. How many? Right? It's an admirable. It's a very admirable thing to get to the point where you're just not upset by hardly anything. I mean, it'd have to be a really, really big thing for some. For some people to get upset. Then that's wow. That's an extremely mature person. That's an extremely spiritually disciplined person. But whatever you want to say about the subject, there are misunderstandings that people have about other people in this area. Most people in this world, they won't take the time to understand someone else regarding why they're upset or regarding why they're feeling whatever. Most people just won't do it. The majority of people, they won't do it. They ought to. People ought to, but they don't. So, because we're feeling kind of a little bit isolated, more or less, some more, some less, increasingly so, because of the way that people often act. Now, I've been in a better place than I was, in a way, a while back, but why is it a better place? What I mean is, I just feel like life is moving forward a little bit more than the past, in a way. But I'm not sure that's a better place. It's hard for me to gauge these things, but I don't. I don't approve of, I think, something that some people think is reasonable. I don't approve of this, you're forbidden to be angry deal. And there's many different kinds of temperaments that would, suggest this. I was taught when I was younger to never treat women poorly. That was a big deal, And when I was my dad said, it was like, you don't. But he mentioned, it was women specifically. It was everybody on some level, but especially it was women. To be very considerate regarding women. And then, of course, there's whatever you want to say about the attitudes in my church, my LDS church, about favoring women in that way over men. And I've heard it all before, or a lot of it. And it's, to be honest, at the end of the day, it's people have these different qualities and how they treat different kinds of people. And people will do largely what they feel is right. But because men are bigger than women, we have louder voices, or we are more intimidating. We're more of a threat in general than, rightly so, society, cops will be quicker to lay down the law for guys that are doing bad things out of anger, but women are not innocent as well, and I don't want to get into that subject right now, but I'm aware of it. But there's many things that members of the Church of Jesus Christ are taught. Many things that members of the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints are taught regarding the subject. Many things. Some things are social mores. Other things are actually more of they're more of a moral kind of thing. But the thing is that all people are deserving of respect, but respect, dignity, and all that stuff. But that doesn't mean an absence of anger. I don't believe in forbidding people from being angry. Some people think being angry is a sin. It's not a sin. Well, ultimately, it kind of is, yeah. But it's a human emotion that we need to experience and we need to eventually gain more mastery over. Yes. But you have righteous indignation. You have God himself is angry with certain things, but it's a perfect kind of anger. It's not imperfect. It's not. Yeah. Now we're talking about theology, okay, but I do believe in not only two things. One, there's different kinds of anger. Sometimes talking about that in a moral sense, and two, I believe in that everybody should be able to try to deal with these angry emotions. Hopefully to get rid of them. Hopefully to not have them as much. To have maybe hopefully lower stress in life. I don't believe it in forbidding someone from being upset. I believe that there are people out there that for some reason they think that when someone becomes upset with them, the person that's upset is always at fault. It's never their fault. It's kind of a well, it can be really annoying. It can be very vexing to be around people that and always some people are quick to go for the conservative versus liberal thing, and they see what I'm inferring. That they say conservatives are very angry, and liberals are just these peaceful people that wouldn't hurt a fly, and they're the ones that are the victims. I don't believe that nonsense, by the way, but I understand that train of thought, but there's only so much thought. I have people I know who might think this way on some level, but it's erroneous to say the least. It's very so. The problem with anger. Here's the problem with anger. Most people don't really understand what's going on with their fellow man. Whether it's something about their anger or something else. In my opinion, when someone's angry, it's like a indication that something needs to change. There's something wrong with some situation. It's best to sometimes think of these situations as being. There are times when someone's clearly in the right. Many times, when both people are equally in the right or wrong. But in many instances, it's not a very serious matter. It shouldn't be. But it can become a more serious matter, depending on how angry people get. So the idea is to de-escalate. I'm not talking about cops, necessarily just cops, although we can talk about cops as well. But that's their job, to de-escalate and all that stuff. So, geez, man, of all people in the world, cops have to think this subject of dealing with anger is a huge, huge one. At least if you are living in a place where your job involves dealing with people that are very angry or very troubled all the time. You have to deal with them. But people just are not, they don't get it. Frankly, I don't get a lot of things. There's a lot of things that it's an invisible emotion. It only becomes visible when people show it. But there's a lot of things. I don't like the word trigger. I don't like a lot of stuff. I don't like a lot of words that are used these days. I just don't. I've never been woke and I never will be. I don't like it. But people need to have lower stress. And people do funny things when they're under a lot of stress or under a lot of pain or in a lot of whatever. And we should understand that. We should be more forgiving, not less. But when I'm in a situation where there seems like there's no way out, that's those times someone could go kazoo. Oh yeah. And it might seem like a lot of situations where people go berserk aren't really, it seems weird that someone would. But if you really think about human behavior and psychology and all this stuff deep enough, you could realize, hey, some people need food, need sugar, hopefully just food. Some people need water, but usually thirst isn't an angry thing. Some people are physically in pain. Some people are stressed out about reaching a goal. So stressed out that they can become very intense. Some people are assholes. Right? So it becomes more of a bad character thing rather than being angry. But when someone has bad character and they're really angry, oh, it's just, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. You thought Biff Tannen was, Biff Tannen, yeah, become monsters, man. Of course. Anyway, I mentioned the financial thing. I mentioned panic, all this stuff. Some people panic rather than becoming angry about some situations. Fight or flight mode. When someone is wrongfully accused of some behavior, or someone is, there's misunderstandings, miscommunications, when someone's not being listened to, when someone's doing their best to be equitable and fair to everyone, and open and honest and transparent, and those efforts are being not reciprocated, when someone's been taken advantage of, I can't think of all the things that would cause someone to be angry, but they do exist. So, I mean, again, my thing is that no one should forbid people from being angry. No. Also, just to tie into this briefly to something else, but it'll go right back to anger. Should people be forbidden to lust after other people? Well, this is like Jesus' topic, right? Sayings, thou shalt not lust after someone else. Well, the thing about lust is it's often very invisible. It's not as evident as anger. And in both cases, they should be, both anger and lust need to be purged, right? Or they should be, what's the word? Our emotions should be refined over time. But it's a difficult thing. It fights, but this is an admirable thing. But one of the things that does not help, one of the things that never helps in both these cases, but they're different. But I'll go back to anger, is that it doesn't help us when another person is forbidding us, supposedly, from being some way. I'll make a part two, possibly, maybe not. I think I've said what I need to say, but I'll catch you guys later. Take care.